I first got to know Jeff Zentner because a bookseller hand sold me his book, The Serpent King, and she said, "You have to read this book." And so I did, and she was absolutely right. I loved it. Later, we connected, and we've been friends ever since. And he's somebody whose opinion means a whole lot to me. And so he's one of the first people to read Lark Ascending. And so I'm really excited to hear what he thought about it and to hear his questions. So, Jeff, take it away.
Well, man, Silas, it's really an honor to do this with you. And let me just say, man, two of my favorite kinds of novels in this world, Silas House novels, post-apocalyptic novels, and specifically a certain kind of post-apocalyptic novel, which is the post-apocalyptic novel that is primarily concerned with what remains of humanness when you strip away so much of the trappings. And I think Cormac McCarthy's The Road is very much in that vein, and Lark Ascending is very much in that vein. I just really, man, admired it so much. I think it's probably your best novel. It's hard to pick. It's like trying to pick a favorite child, but I really connected with it. I was deeply moved. Man, that ending. There were a few times when I teared up. I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody, but you'll know when you get there. You'll know when you get there. And one thing I particularly loved about this book, it was a departure for you in a number of ways, but one of the departures that really struck a chord with me and resonated for me was the setting, which is primarily in Ireland. Can you talk about your decision to set the book in Ireland? What pull is there for you in Ireland?
Well, the main thing is that it makes sense in the scenario that's at play. If you think about, when I started writing this book, Australia was burning, and so I thought about it. Just boggled my mind to think about 1 billion animals supposedly died in the Australia fire, and then we see the forest fires in California and the West. And so, one prediction for the way climate change is going to shape America is that there will be more of these forest fires. And so, in that scenario, Ireland would be a safe place. It would be one of the places that wouldn't be as um, as in as much trouble if that happened in the United States. So it makes sense that that's where this family would head to. Thematically, it really works, I think, because Ireland has always been a place fighting for its autonomy. They've always been a people who are fighting for their own freedom. Um, Also, I know Ireland really well. I've been there many times. I have dear friends that live in Ireland. Um, I have walked almost the entire route that Lark walks in Lark Ascending. So I know every step of the way. And so it just all made sense. And like you said, I love Ireland. Um, I have an allegiance to it. Um, and it resonates for me. And I think the same is true for a whole lot of people. When I'm writing about a place, it's important for me that it have a really rich sense of place, and Ireland certainly does. And so, I knew what these streams sounded like and tasted like and looked like, and it all works. That's sometimes you just use what works, and that's what I did.
Ask you, who are some of your favorite Irish writers?
Boland is a poet who I read a lot of her poetry when I was working on this book. And actually, she passed away while I was finishing up this book. I hope people will look up even Boland. Yeats, of course, shows up all throughout the book. Yeats used a lot of Irish folklore and mythology in his poetry. And so I bring in not only Yeats's poetry, like the Tale of the Wandering Angus, but also some of the folklore that he used. Seamus Heaney is a huge influence on this book, probably the most beloved contemporary poet of the Irish people. And of course, one of the main characters, the Beagle, is named Seamus, and he's named for Seamus Heaney. So I was particularly thinking of those three Irish poets. But there are just so many great Irish novelists. Um, you and I both love Claire Keegan. She wrote a book called Small Things Like These that it's my favorite book of last year. Sebastian Barry is a favorite writer of mine. Um, Gosh, just so many that that when you're asked that question, of course, it flies out of your head.
Man, congratulations on Lark Ascending. It's really thrilling to me to see an artist take a risk like that and step outside. Uh, I'm sure their comfort zone. I'm sure it wasn't easy to step outside of what you have normally written.
Yeah.
Um, it's a thrill to see that happen and to pay off such tremendous dividends. So really, man, congratulations. You should be very, very proud of this book.
Well, thank you, buddy. As I said at top of the conversation, your opinion means a lot to me. That's why you were one of the first people that, to look at the book. And so I really appreciate you taking the time to spend with it. Thanks so
You
much.
bet, man. Anytime, anytime.
All right. We'll see you soon, I hope.
See you, buddy.